I've got this bingo here. This is just a simple bingo game that I made, a Google Slide bingo game. But with any grammar and vocabulary that you have, I want to share with you just a no prep bingo version that I got from someone called Martina Bex. She's absolutely brilliant, comprehensible classroom. And it's so simple. And I'm a little angry at myself for not thinking of it already. But basically, you just take out a piece of paper and make a 9 grid, or if you want to do something bigger, you can do it. And whatever grammar and vocabulary you're doing, right, they fill it in and you've got instant bingo. It's fantastic. I think I could give a whole talk on how useful these are. Of course, index cards, people tend to make flashcards with these. There's tons and tons and tons of uses, but I want to share just a couple that I like to do with these. One of them is after they've made flashcards, you can put a pair of students together, because now you've got pairs and you shuffle them up and they can play Go Fish, or they can play a game called, how do you say it? And you're basically looking for pairs. But I think a really fun low prep game is, you take a set of flashcards, somebody made a set of flashcards and they're just going to give that to you. And however you geographically have your students divided up will be team. So if you've got 5 or 10 minutes left in class, that's fine. And you'll decide however many you're going to ask before a group gets a point. So whatever the flashcard is, let's say my students are at tables. I've got team 1, team 2, team 3, etc. And I might say, okay, whatever it is, and they give the answer, they get a point. And you just go around. It's just an instant game with flashcards. It's great. Hangman, of course, is brilliant because, again, you've got your list of words. There's only so many spaces. It's a great way to review vocabulary. And Pictionary, or Draw What I Say. Again, whatever, you've got this list of vocabulary. It's great interactive practice. You can say them to the students and they draw. I have small boards and I have them take turns being the caller, and it's interactive, it's fun, and it's a fun way to study vocabulary. One thing I really like to do is just say game night, especially when we're doing something that's kind of difficult. And I'm going to curate these activities and just play. It works great with verbs and vocabulary. Maybe in an hour-long class period, you might play 3 or 4 games. But if you're really tired and you really want, they're no prep, right? So you're going to just say, okay, we're going to play bingo, then we're going to play Quizlet, then we're going to play, Post-it note questions, whatever it is. But another variation on this activity is just centers. So basically, you set this up before class and you set up your different areas. So maybe one area is bingo and another area is hangman and another area is, buzzers with the textbook. Another area is Go Fish, whatever it is. And they rotate through. So it's super low prep and it's great study review. I think this is one of the last activities we'll talk about. Then I'm going to take some questions. Basically, I just like to call this coffee talk, and it's basically just sitting around and talking. And that's really what we want our students to do. And many years ago, one of my uncles lived in South America for many years, and he taught, and then he practiced law both in Spanish and in English. And he's an absolutely amazing man. He got 2 degrees from Harvard, and he has no airs about it. So I tend to go to him for a lot of things. Hey, what do you think about? And he said, you know what? It doesn't matter if you go to Harvard. None of this matters. What really matters is sitting down around a group of people and talking to them. That's how you learn a language. So really, this is any activity that supports that. So bringing in target language food and sharing, any guest speakers, anytime that they get a chance to sit around and talk. For our novice and our A-level students, they're going to have to, you're going to have to give them some support. Maybe you give them some questions and answers. Maybe you give them some time to support. But really, it's about lowering the anxiety so that everyone is getting practice and doing it on a fairly regular basis. Alliteration. This is a fun one. This works well when you're working on, adjectives. So whatever your name is, and then you get an adjective that goes with it, and of course you use your target language. You make sure that that's grammatically correct, and then you say it. So many people call me Nina. I might say, nice Nina, if this were English class, for example. And then the next person would have to say theirs, and then they would have to say mine. So they'd have to repeat mine and then theirs, and then you keep building on like a chain. And obviously it gets more difficult the more that you have, but it's lots of laughter, lots of fun. It's low prep, and they'll learn a lot of vocabulary. The last activity I want to talk about is something called Nature Walk. And what I like to do with this, there are lots of variations on this, but I'm going to talk about this for a sort of beginning level class. This works really well when the weather's nice, obviously. I would write the target language. I would write a bunch of vocabulary that I want them to know, that I know that they'll encounter in the target language. And I tell them, I'm not going to help you with this. And, you might give them all clipboards or something that they can write on, and they can work together. And you go out for a walk, and they have to try to identify, working together, between what they know, what their group knows, what meanings that they can negotiate. And they draw a little, like kind of doodle a little picture or make notes about what they found. Then after we've gone on the walk, they all sit down and they sort of brainstorm together and get any missing words, any words they might have missed, so that they've all got now a whole list of vocabulary. Then they draw their own nature scene. It's really fun. Works great on a sunny day, particularly in the spring towards the end of the year. It gets them outside. So sometimes, I might change this. I've had textbook programs that have this at a part of the year where the weather wasn't so great, and I would just switch it and do it then.